If you guys are out there with Tourette's or a neurological disorder, anxiety, depression, any mental illness, and you need to take medication for the brain, please, please, please consider it and look into it before you do. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Ticking Together. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide education about and to raise awareness as to what it's like living with Tourette Syndrome. Okay, this video is super important, and I know lots of you guys don't always watch the full thing, but at least stay tuned for the beginning because, guys, this is really intense and so serious, and I need to get this point across to you because it literally, like, oh my gosh, my last week was literally hell, and I want to make sure you guys don't go through this ever. So just a brief disclaimer, if you're watching this with Tourette syndrome, a neurological disorder, depression, anxiety, and mental illness, something that requires you to take medication for your brain, like an antipsychotic or an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication, whatever the case, please watch this and listen close. It might not make a lot of sense if you haven't seen my last video, so I will link that up there, but I was in the hospital from 12:30 a.m. yesterday to 4:30 p.m. today, and basically I was going through horrific medication withdrawal of my antipsychotic called fluphenazine that I was on for 10 years. I was only on 2 milligrams, and basically the doctors who took me off it were like, you know what, it's 2 milligrams, no big deal, take her off it cold turkey, she doesn't need to wean, it'll be fine, take her off. And so my psychiatrist was like, yep, taking her off it on Tuesday. So last Tuesday, I completely came off my fluphenazine for the first time in 10 years. I had never missed a dose. And this kind of like alarmed me. It sounded silly, but honestly, I listen to doctors because they know more than me most of the time about medical stuff and medication. I'm just a patient. I deal with Tourette's, but I don't know all the side effects and all the stuff that matters with medication. So Tuesday I stopped it. Fast forward to Wednesday night, I was vomiting insane amounts. Could not keep food down, could not keep liquids down, dizzy, shaking, my vision was blurred, I was seeing double, I think I had a fever, like it was just horrible, and I hadn't slept. Thursday, same symptoms, but getting worse. I still hadn't slept since since Tuesday, I don't think. I maybe got like 1 hour, and it was horrific. I was progressively getting worse, shaking, feeling like I was actually dying. And then Saturday comes along. Friday was pretty much the same, getting worse with the same symptoms, but Saturday. So Saturday comes along and I literally start hallucinating things that aren't there. And I don't experience that. I have literally never experienced that in my lifetime. I don't have any schizophrenia or any stuff like that. So I was genuinely like, what the heck? I was sitting on my bed, and on my floor there was a spider that was like this big. And spiders are scary, but it was humongous, and I was like, okay, this isn't real because spiders aren't that big, and I'm in Canada and it's winter, so what the heck is happening? Then I saw giant bright lights and flashes and figures of people and figures of bugs flying all over my room on the walls. They were crawling everywhere, and I was like, what is happening? So fast forward to Sunday night. Last night I was experiencing more and more hallucinations, both visual and auditory. I started hearing people screaming and people saying gibberish in my ear and jingle bells ringing and all this weird stuff, and it wasn't real. It was not real. It was just, I heard it, it felt real as heck, but I knew it was not real. And obviously my family was like, yeah, that's not happening. So I decided to call a health link that would tell me what to do if I needed to get checked out or if I was just overreacting. And I called them and said, hey, I'm hallucinating. I don't usually hallucinate. I haven't been able to keep food down for 4 days and also barely any liquid. I haven't slept in like 3 days. I've been shaking, I've been chilled, I've been losing my vision. I literally passed out and then would wake up like randomly. It was the scariest thing. So the lady on the phone was like, please, Carly, go to the emergency room right now, you need to get stabilized, like this is serious. And so I obviously thought it was my antipsychotic that I was coming off of. I knew it was withdrawal. I was like, what else could this be? I was shaking, I was vomiting, I had horrific stomach pain, I could barely breathe on Sunday night. So I woke up my dad and my mom and I was like, can one of you please drive me to the hospital? Because I couldn't drive because I was literally seeing things, hearing things, and my eyes weren't working. And so my dad drove me to the hospital and I got there at about 12:30, as I said. And I went to the triage and said, hi, I'm Carly, this is what I'm dealing with. And the triage nurse had no idea what fluphenazine was, so he was Googling it, like, what the heck are these symptoms? And he was like, okay, well, just go take a seat. So in my hospital, there is a really nice waiting room, and I was like on my way there, and then they were like, no, we're going this way. And they took me to an ambulance bay where it was like insulated, and there were 4 chairs, 1 in each corner, and a few scattered in the middle. And I was like, oh my gosh, why am I here? Like, this is not the right place. Meanwhile, there was a person who was screaming and like having a conversation with someone who wasn't there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like I'm scared. And through all of this, I had been seeing scary stuff. I saw a humongous kangaroo, it just appeared, and I was like, there are no kangaroos in Canada, this can't be real. So I was like self-talking myself out of it, but it was there. It was there. And then I saw a giant like Mario mushroom, the red and white polka dot mushroom. It just kept growing, and bats and bugs and spiders and snakes, and it was just everything was moving around me, and there were shadows that didn't belong to anything that were moving, and lights, and I was hearing people screaming and saying bad words, just screaming, and I felt like I was literally insane. So after that, I waited about 4 hours in that little ambulance bay waiting room makeshift thingy, and they finally called me into my hospital bed where I stayed for another long time before anyone even saw me. I literally think they thought I was insane, and this is something I've experienced in hospitals with my Tourette's before and with other psychiatric symptoms, anxiety, depression. They always don't take me seriously. I don't know if that's normal, but every hospital I've been to, regardless of where it is, they don't take me seriously. Sometimes they've said, go home, watch Netflix, you're fine. And I've been having a tic attack, like, they never help me. So I was really scared they couldn't do anything. I was scared they were gonna say you're making this up. And I was just so scared in this room alone, seeing random stuff all over the walls. Bugs were the main things. The stethoscope turned into a snake, like there was fire all over the floor. I was hearing people talking that weren't there, and it was insane. It was so weird. And so a doctor came in and he was like talking to me and blah 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 blah. I'll get to the moral of the story because this is a really long story. But as I said, my psychiatrist took me off my fluphenazine antipsychotic cold turkey on, I believe it was Tuesday, and I thought it was fine. The doctors, even in the emergency room, were like, it's 2 milligrams, like that's not gonna cause you to have withdrawal. And I was meanwhile like shaking like a leaf, like throwing up everything they gave me. I had an IV in. They were giving me 6 liters of liquid right away because I was so dehydrated, and I just didn't know what to do. And so they called the psych team in because the psychiatric team might have known more than this doctor who was just an emergency doctor. So after a few more hours of waiting in the room, seeing things, hearing things, shaking, throwing up, not being able to sleep, just staring off into space, feeling like I was literally losing my mind, the psychiatric lady comes in and she's like, hey Carly, what's happening? And so I had to explain the story for like the 500th time, and I was like, this is what's happening. My psychiatrist took me off fluphenazine, which I've been on for 10 years. It's only 2 milligrams, but I've always had struggles coming off medication and adjusting. I'm really sensitive to that. And she was like, okay. And we talked for an hour about other like psychiatric things. And after that, after she'd evaluated me, she was like, okay, I think I know what this is. I just have to talk to my team because I don't want to like jump to conclusions, but this is something that we don't see very often, but it can still happen. So after a few more minutes, the head psychiatrist comes in and he's like, Carly, I know it's only 2 milligrams. I know all the doctors have been saying only two, that's pathetic, whatever, but it can literally lead to side effects like this, like you're going through severe withdrawal, and the withdrawal has led to a psychosis-like symptom. And so that is why I have been auditorily and visually hallucinating I had never experienced that before, but all of a sudden being on no medication for my brain that was antipsychotic, apparently the guy said the dopamine in my brain had like shifted. Instead of preventing movements, it had started hallucinating. So I don't know. Let's just get to the point of this video. If you guys are out there with Tourette's or a neurological disorder, anxiety, depression, any mental illness, and you need to take medication for the brain, please, please, please consider it and look into it before you do. I was 12 when I was put on fluphenazine, a really, really intense antipsychotic medication. I had no idea about it, and I had no idea that it would take forever to come off. My doctor today said it should take at least 6 months before you can even wean yourself off. And so my doctor, who took me off it in 1 day, was insane. Like, I have developed hallucinations because of this. I'm not even kidding. I'm going crazy. And it is all because of this drug that I was on for my tics that really didn't do much. So just a really big warning for you guys. Please be aware of your medication that you put into your body. I'm not trying to preach. I'm not trying to be weird, but this week was literally hell. I thought I was dying. Like, I know people say that, but I genuinely could not eat, or I could not drink. I couldn't do anything, and it was horrific. I'm still currently seeing things all around my room right now, but I'm trying to ignore it. And basically my doctor says you have to go back on fluphenazine. It's the only way to stop these hallucinations. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm really hoping they go away. But if you guys are out there, I'm like begging you, please be careful with medication, especially medications that affect the brain, especially antipsychotics and antidepressants, because those can lead to discontinuation syndrome, which can also lead to psychosis like I've developed, and it is worse than Tourette's. Like, I would rather have tics than hallucinations any day. So please, 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 I don't know how else to say this, but just be careful. Medication for the brain is serious. Serious, serious, serious. So please, just be careful. Don't jump into taking something just because your doctor says it's gonna be okay, because you never know. Like, I didn't think this would happen, and now I'm here barely making any sense because I keep seeing random stuff. So please just be safe and be smart. I'm gonna wrap it up here. This was really long, but thank you for watching. Please be safe with medication. If you want to stay tuned to educational content about Tourette syndrome, please subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up so we can provide awareness about medication like this and withdrawals, because they're so real. And leave a comment down below letting me know if you've ever experienced this, because oh my gosh, it is horrific. As always, we're learning together, not really laughing together, and we're taking together. This is serious. Please spread this around. Be careful with medication. Have a good night.